This is a new channel, Benfica After 90. After every game, Alex, Mario.
I'm Mr. Mello on Twitter. If you don't know me, you should know me.
We are going to just come out, balls blazing, guns blazing, emotions out, what we feel about the game.
I want my Benfica After 90.
Is Seferovic dating like Rui Victoria's like sister or something?
I don't know, but that's a perfect way to start the show because we're live.
All right, fuck it, it's live.
We in, baby!
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Another edition of Benfiquistas Worldwide. And as always, we're going to start in Lisboa at the Stade Luge. The zoom out today for our special guest is on the other side of the pond, as the Brits say. And we're going to go over this way to Canada, the French version of Canada, Quebec. We got our friend here today, Kevin. He is just north of Quebec here. I don't have my mouse today, so it's working out a lot more fun than normal. Yeah, there we go. There he is. That was where the wedding was, right? Up here. Somewhere around there. Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us, Kevin. Really appreciate having you on. I got Dylan and myself. And yeah, let's kick it off. Yeah. Dylan, you want to shoot off the first question?
Sure. So, Kevin, I know you, Benfiquista, I met you up in New Jersey. Since this is a Benfiquista Worldwide, first thing we want to know, and what everyone wants to know when they watch this, is how did you become a Benfiquista? Where did it happen? How did it happen? And yeah, give us your story.
I think it happened when I was like about the age of 7 years old. I remember going with my father to the old Casa de Benfica in Montreal, and just seeing a bunch of older men cheering, screaming, smoking cigarettes indoors, watching soccer, and coming home smelling like cigarette. Drinking Smalls while watching the games with my father. If I didn't go to the games, I would ask my father when he'd get home on the weekends, like would the Benfica win, if they won, did they lose, if I didn't end up going to the game. That was at an early age. I was like when I was 7, 8, 9 years old. But in my teens, I I didn't pay attention to it. I stopped going with my father. But since then, once we got internet in the house and I got a computer, I would start following the Benfica news, trying to watch video highlights and stuff like that. Probably I'd say probably in 2002, 2003, that's when I started following Benfica a little bit more. And I guess probably by genetics, when my father was Benfiquista, so I followed the same footpath as my father.
Yeah, kind of went through that way, eh?
Yeah.
So, out of curiosity, the Casa Benfica Montreal, I know you've been around a bit. You've been to Toronto before. You've been to our neck of the woods, the U.S. and to Portugal. Anything unique about the Casa Montreal? It's a little bit different than you might find elsewhere?
To be honest, I haven't been there as, it's not like a second home for me, like how it is for Sergio. But to be honest, I haven't been there in 2 years or so. They have, from the first location I've been to, they moved already twice. Yeah. What I would say, what's unique about it, it used to be it used to be like an old evangelical church, evangelical church location. Wow. So I remember seeing the church, the type of seats they see in the church, big viewing area, a good kitchen. I like their bifanas. To me, that sounds their benchmark is their bifanas. I don't know how they do it, but it sounds really good. Bifanage, that's one thing I remember from the current one.
The secret sauce there is a bit of holy water in the Bifana because it's old church, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you said you started following seriously around 2002, 2003. A couple years later, Benfica is champions for the first time in 11 years with Giovanni Trapattoni. Who were your favorite players around that time when you picked up a little bit more watching?
It'll probably have to be Simão Sabrosa, Nuno Gomes. I never really had a Rui Costa or anything like that. I was too young. I stopped going to the Casa games or the cafes in my early teens. But probably Simão Sabrosa, Nuno Gomes. More like those players. One player I wish I got to see more was Montores. I didn't get to see him much, and I'd say those three players kind of have started getting me back to following Benfica. And then the won the championship with Trapatroni. I remember a bit of it, but it was a pretty cool moment to feel that actually to be a winner and to experience that with my father.
Yeah, and talking about players, was there? I know obviously that era. I think for so many Benfiquistas, there's so many players that pop out, right? That people love. But whether you're looking at when you're a little kid, when you first looked at here and there at the cafes, when you're a bit older, when you first went and watched that title, or even nowadays, throughout the spectrum of your time, is there? It'd be like a two-part question. Is there a player during your lifetime that you've enjoyed watching the most? And is there just a player in general that maybe you didn't get to see as much, but it just became part of kind of the Benfica side for you?
I probably say like seeing Simon Sabrosa play and the way how he would do his cuts with the ball and curl it in. I remember the goals he did against the Champions League game. I believe against Liverpool. Was it Liverpool or Man United? I think it was Liverpool. It was Liverpool. Seeing the game like on TSN and here in Canada was like something pretty special to see. To me, it was Simon Sabrosa's style, the Benfiquism in him. Seeing that name and the logo out on TV and in Canadian television, also that was for me. It was kind of touched me.
That's awesome.
What was I gonna say? Okay, so your favorite player is Simon Sabrosa. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Growing up, Simon Sabrosa was a big fan of mine too. I just because I used to play left wing, I love Simon Sabrosa. Yeah, that's a good player. We hadn't had anyone really say Simon Sabrosa on the show yet. It's always been Nuno Gomes, so that's a good.
Nuno Gomes, Maturas, Rui Costa.
Yeah,
I gotta. I'll admit myself, man. That era between Nuno Gomes, Simão, Petit, Montores, the super sub, like it was just like.
Even Luizão, you could even say
Luizão, the young Luizão. His name is eluding me. The little tiny Italian guy. Oh my God,
Micoli.
Yeah, that guy. It was just a fun
era.
I don't know. And that era was fun.
It was a losing era, but it was still.
I know, but even like the Portuguese national team, you had like then you see Petit, Simão, Nuno Gomes. Like the guys are anchors in the national team. Like it's been a long time now. Benfica starting to come up, and it feels like you're starting to get more of that Benfiquism inside the seleção. But yeah, it's
funny story about Micoli is that my couple of years back, my parents they were doing a trip in Europe with a church, and my father says he got to see Micoli at the airport. He didn't really talk to him, but he just saw him from a distance. But he says he was short, but he's stocky like a fridge. He was like short, but really bulky, like a little pit bull.
That's awesome. Out of curiosity, so I know you've been to the Luge. When was your first chance to go see it?
Well, my first time experience seeing the Luge was in '92 at the old one. To me, that's gonna be a memory I'll never forget. I was like 9 years old at the time. In '92, we went for my parents' 25th anniversary, and so we decided to go to Lisboa as a family vacation. My parents were hardworking parents. We didn't even get to travel that often. It was other than like road trips to our family in Ontario. So abroad trips, that was rare. We never really did it. So in '92, we went to Lisbon. I don't remember too much other than it was really hot. But what I do remember is seeing the old Luge. It was me and my brother and my parents. They allow us inside the stadium to walk around the stands. That's something that's probably like unheard of nowadays, unless you have to do the groups, the new Luge. But I remember in '92, walking around the stadium in a hot July day. I was wearing a black T-shirt. I was halfway into the stadium. I took off my shirt. I was so hot as a young child. Seeing the big light stands, the shape of the Luge. Again, at that time, I don't remember seeing much of like the Luge, watch on TV. But to me, that was pretty impressive to see a massive building like that of close hand and seeing the pitch, seeing the old trophy room. It was a big room, and it was just trophies from the bottom to the back of the wall. There was so many banners and trophies. nowadays what you see at the museum,
Yeah.
Picture all that into like one big saga, a big room that full of trophies.
Just on top of each other,
Like
yeah.
a storage room. Yeah.
I remember my parents getting me a Benfica kit back then and walking around the stadium with an old soccer ball, a Benfica soccer ball. That to me was my first memories of the Luge.
Mm-hmm.
And then recently in 2014, when I went to my wife, we got there. We stayed there. We got to stay in Lisbon for a week, but that main trip was just to go watch Benfica, and got to see 2 games. The 3-0 win against Belenenses, and then the last game of the Champions League against Bayer Leverkusen, which were already eliminated. Go figure. We were finished last in that group, but that was a pretty cool experience to see the Luge, the new one. Just feeling that's it.
That's the one right there, right? Yeah, I've seen images of this before.
Flashbacks. I have flashbacks right now. I've seen that.
It's very cool. It's funny how they used to set it up before, and I remember I saw for myself afterwards there's the other stage where they had a different room afterwards. In between, they had built the new luge, and they had a different one before they started the museum. But it's always crazy when you see all the trophies, and that's when you kind of you get the history of the club, but you get more awestruck when you see one after another. You're like, oh my god, I don't think I have enough years of my life to ever count to the same amount of trophies this club has.
Well, when we did the 2014 trip, we had to do almost everything as much as possible that's Benfica related. If the futsal team was playing at a home game, I would have attended, but they were playing in Rio Ave at the time. But we got to do the stadium tour, the museum. The museum was pretty cool to experience. Seeing the history, from when it started until now. All the stages that the old stadiums that they played in, and seeing the old bus, seeing the video of Zabu, that elevator that goes up and tells you the story. That was goosebumps right there. That was pretty neat to see. I will definitely need to go back there eventually once our kids are a little bit older. We're gonna definitely spend more than a week there, and I have to thank my wife for allowing that trip to spend like 3/4 of the time to be at the luge. We were there. We're there 6 days. We probably spent like 3 days total, 3-4 days at the luge around that area, Colombo, the mall, and walk around the stadium.
So talk a little bit about the you've been to Montreal Impact games out there, right? Have you been?
Yeah.
Okay, so
it's been a few years I haven't been, but I've been to a few.
So talk about a little bit about the atmosphere at the Stade de Luge compared to the atmosphere, say, at Montreal. Talk about the differences about the Benfica fans.
It depends where you sit. I've been to the Impact games where I was like where the Impact Ultras, and there a couple of years back when they went to the long run into the CONCACAF Champions League, I was in one area in the Ultras where I got to see the goal that led them to. I think the semifinal was a big goal. It was the goal at the end of the game that led us to go to the next round. That was pretty wild to feel the Olympic Stadium, this old concrete building, like I felt it shake.
Yeah.
But it's nothing compared to being at the Luge. Even though on a game against Belenenses, that was pretty wild. I was right behind the no-name boys on top of them. I have a few videos on my YouTube page that I've recorded some of the goals. That was pretty neat to experience. The Champions League one was pretty cool too. We're sitting up on top of this behind the net, but all the way on top. It was a cool experience. Just to hear the Champions League anthem itself live in a stadium, even though we didn't make it to the final 16. Just to hear the anthem for me was almost worth it to
shivers.
Almost worth it just for the price of admission for the tickets. Nothing compares to an Impact MLS game to a European or Benfica game.
Of course.
Nothing compared.
Now I want to come back a little bit to you being a fan. Sorry, Mario's over there talking to his wife. I want to talk a little bit about when you started with this age of social media, with the fans really gathering, and there's more and more. When did you actually really start to follow as serious as you do now? And how you follow each other, and we talk about Benfica. Like, when did you really start to follow the team the way you do now?
when I created my Twitter account.
How long ago would that be, more or less?
3-4 years, 5 years, I would say.
More than that. Yeah.
Talk
More
about
than that, Mario? Probably.
Yeah. Because I was in Toronto at the time, and I've been in 6 years. So you've been in almost like 7 years, 7, 8 years.
Yeah, well, I remember. Well, I was on it for sure when this week was the anniversary of Zebi passing away. So I was on it. I remember watching the funeral ceremony at work. And I believe I was talking to Mario at the time while I was going live, and I was watching it at work. And so I'd say at least 5+ years I've been following actively. It started with the Benfica podcast. Through that channel, I met other great Benfiquistas around the world, here in North America, and that got us close to where we are now. So let's say Twitter, and then Benfica podcast, YouTube, and that got me more following Benfica more often. To where I am now.
So from then until now, obviously there's been a major increase in Benfiquismo and Benfica fans along the social media. Where do you see it going? Do you where do you see this club and these fans going? Do you see it increasing internationally? Do you just see it increasing domestically between fans? What's your take on that?
I see it increasing if they keep up the same pathway they're going. I would example, when they're coming to North America like every second year. Mm-hmm. And I find that these international championship games, that it's called there or whatever, I find that it's a good marketing tool for Benfica to expand to the North American market, to touch base, because there is a lot of Portuguese immigrants in North America, and that they're big diehard soccer fans like we all are. Mm-hmm. And I see them going, expanding to where there's more and more Benfica schools be open up. Toronto, I believe, has a big one. Yeah. So I see them going the right way. If I could advise them, is to maybe create give them a social card, create a package and a social card that allows for to give us advantages for us that are in North America that are not in Portugal often. Mm-hmm. Give us some rebates for
better deals for online shopping and stuff.
Stuff like that, to buy merchandising from the store,
like free shipping or something,
or cost anything like that, just to make it more worthwhile for a Benfica in North America to become a socio, because I'm sure like you guys, like you are, Marian, your family is a socio. It might be holding back other people from becoming a socio because they don't know what's the advantages of becoming a socio, even though you're 5,000 kilometers away from Portugal to take full advantage of it.
Yeah, I think I was going back and forth actually today on David Pritchard, which used to run the Benfica Twitter feed. Just a little light banter or joking, and some guy jumped in saying, why are you talking English, kind of thing. I think he was just trying to poke fun a little bit, having fun. But I think a lot of people back home, including at the club at Benfica, sometimes they forget. At one point, I don't know if it's still true today, but there was a point years back that the number of Portuguese citizens in Portugal was only equal to the number of Portuguese citizens overall overseas. So there's almost like a double the amount, but half of them were outside the country and spread out, throughout Liechtenstein, Switzerland, and Africa, all over North America, as we know. And I do feel like the constant road shows that they're doing now, and they're coming more and more internationally, especially here in North America, it gives me an opportunity to bring my son to more games, help the next generation hopefully be Benfiquista. But also we met a lot of non-Portuguese people that become Benfiquista. Some of them have become just because they follow the club for their own reason. In your case, you brought up Lisa. Lisa's Canadian, right?
Right.
And she's now Benfiquista, right? For all intents and purposes.
Yeah. Not a diehard, but she'll every now and then I come home from work and she's wearing a Benfica sweater, stuff like that. And without me, I'm not the type of husband that's gonna tell her you need to wear this, you need to wear that. No, she just puts on. Sometimes she'll wear one of my sweaters. She likes some of the jerseys. She really likes the goalkeeper jersey from this year. So it's just that kind of marketing that if Benfica comes to North America more often, they've I find that they've done enough of the European, playing the preseasons in Switzerland, and that's cool and all that they get to go there. But if they come to the market in North America, there's a whole, I would like to see more non-Portuguese to become Benfica fans, and I find that if they come to North America, if they do good Champions League runs, they get the name out. I find it kind of odd that all of a sudden we see these Twitter accounts or like for example Manchester City, and you see these Twitter accounts for Manchester City, Brazil. You see these these teams that have clubhouses in the States, in southern states, but they're like Chelsea fans, and there's a Chelsea clubhouse in Florida. I like to see that kind of all the causes in North America to expand, to become that popular, and have more non-Portuguese fans become Benfica fans. Yeah. And I think what helps to get to that stage is them coming to North America more often, play these types of games, and Benfica being very successful in Champions League.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the jersey itself, just the brand, the logo itself is a clean logo. Last year we saw, I don't know if you guys watch basketball, but James Harden wore a Benfica T-shirt before going into one of his games, and the whole Portuguese community or that knows the team snapped on his social media saying, "Oh, you're a Benfica fan," this and that. And that's a guy that has a pretty big following in North America as an MVP basketball player. You have local rappers here in Canada that wear Benfica jerseys all the time, and I think it's just because of the brand, just the look itself is cool. You know what I mean? So yeah. I agree with you in that expansion out here. I think it would have a great effect on the non-Portuguese fans.
Well, you bring up a good point, because that's one thing I remember going to a sporting merchandising store and asked the guy who's Portuguese, asked the guy, "How come we don't have any more Benfica items?" He says the reason he doesn't have a lot, he only had the jerseys. So he says the reason I have that is Adidas Canada only permits them to sell the jerseys. They said Adidas says there's not enough of a market to have Benfica merchandise. Mm-hmm. So now if I go to the Adidas outlet stores, I'll see Chelsea, I'll see AC Milan, but I don't get to see Benfica, and I find it's unfortunate. Benfica has more Champions League trophies than Chelsea, I think, I find to me Benfica is bigger than some of these clubs, if not equal, and we're not there. We don't see our merchandise. And I want to see kids, wearing, as much as I see them wearing those knockoff Messi jerseys. I want to see some kids wearing Benfica jerseys as well.
Yeah, it's actually funny you bring that up. Like I remember, I don't know if it's still the case, but for a while, the big Adidas store on Dundas Square, right downtown Toronto, when I lived in that area, that's actually where I got this one. Wow. It's hilarious. But the thing, but it is true. Like I know a merchant here in town runs a store. Every single jersey you can think of the world, but he has a challenge with the Portuguese clubs, especially Benfica, because Adidas actually, it is a Canadian issue, puts a lot of restrictions on who could sell Adidas product, and it's some weird rules in terms of if you're going to sell the product, there's a certain amount you got to buy, and anyways, it makes it a bit more difficult for some of the stores to carry it. But kind of speaking of jerseys, though, yourself, Kevin, is there like a favorite jersey? I know you got a few of them actually.
I got about 20 or so jerseys. My wife just recently gave me for Christmas, as a Christmas gift, our home jersey. Nice. So I like that one. I like anything that's clean look, retro looking style jersey. But my favorite one I would have to say is the kit from 2004, the Centennial jersey. Mm-hmm. The home one has like a white band down the middle.
Yeah.
And it just nothing crazy on the side. It's just basically a plain red jersey with a white band collar, and the away kit, all the white with the lace on the neck, with the collar. I like that. For me, that away jersey is the best one that they ever made.
With the lace, that's almost like a hockey jersey.
Yeah. I also have the away one that did a black one. I think it's a 96 jersey, the black and white with the red trim that also has a lace. But the 2004 one, I have two of those. I got one that has Miklos Freire on the back. That one I don't wear too often. I don't want to bust the letterings from all the washes and wear and tear on it. But I bought one specifically without any numbers on it. I don't have too many. I think that's my only player kit I have, other than Rui Costa. Yeah, I have a Rui Costa one. That one too, I don't wear too often, and I used to have another long sleeve Rui Costa, but that one's beat up, and now I use it for I want to play soccer outside.
Right. What about jersey you dislike the most over the years that you've seen? Is there anyone that you look at and you're kind of like, this one looks iffy or shitty?
I see it all the time when I go in the laundry room. It's part of my soccer equipment stuff. It's the Benfica jersey. It's a Nuno Gomes jersey that has the numbers, the letters all chipped, cracked from the wear and tear on it. But that jersey, it's the white one with the frog on it. It's the Sapu.
Oh yeah. Cynthia's got that one upstairs. The Sapu one. Yeah.
Simply because of the green frog on it. I dislike that one. I have some other jerseys with a TMN with a big blue square. I find that having a sponsor on a front jersey, I find it has to be done right. Then going back to let's say blue or green, a frog in the front.
Yeah,
it looks like a kid's toy.
It looks tacky. Yeah, you're right.
But I find ever since Benfica signed up with Fly Emirates, to go back to where the previous conversation was talking about, I find that it looks like a real jersey, a Champions League jersey. A jersey that you see like the big clubs in Europe that you see on Champions League on Tuesday, Wednesday nights on TSN in Canada. They see Milan's. That's since if you have a nice sponsored jersey in the front, that I find that it makes the jersey look really mint.
It felt very modern because I know what you mean. For a while they had like the big box, right? And it was like an ad, and it felt awkward. It looked awkward. It looked a bit cheap, and
the PT one was not bad. The blue and red square top, that was not bad, but it's better than the TMN, the blue rectangular, and the frog on the front.
Yeah, and
I'd say the white one's the one I hate the most.
Yeah, but now I find it's very clean. Now it's like the logo blends, like it's lettering. It's like it's actual, not just like a block. It looks a little nicer. Yeah.
I like our pink jersey that we did.
Mikoli times.
Our pink jersey that we had a couple of years back. I find that was really clean. Not all the teams that have done the pink jerseys, I'd say ours is really neat. It's clean. It has a bit of gray touch to it. It kind of looks like the Juventus pink jersey with a star in the front. I like our pink jersey. I wouldn't mind if Benfica came back in the next couple of years to come back with another pink jersey or a white. Another one I like too is the silver one that they had back then in the late 90s.
Oh yeah.
Silver kit, the jersey, the shorts, and the socks. I know not too many people might not like it, but I find that was pretty futuristic. The silver one.
It was back in the day. It looked legit. I know which one you're talking about. What was I gonna say? So bringing it back to the soccer team, Kevin. Right now, past couple of years, Benfica's been kind of last year and this year, between this year and last year, kind of so. So where do you see the team right now? Where do you see it going? What's your opinion on the squad right now?
My opinion on the squad right now is that it should be playing better than what it is prior to Rui Vitória leaving. Our squad on paper, it looks really good. It could contend for the cups. But if you don't have a proper coach on the helm to guide the players, you get the results where we are right now, and especially in the last 2 years. Like many guys have spoken online on social media and podcasts, that each year it's getting lower and lower performance-wise and our style of play. When I myself, I used to be that bold of people that, if you win, it's 3 points, and you don't get 4 points for a style of play. But eventually that catches up to you, and it's catching up to us right now, where we're 7 points behind first place. We're out of Champions League. We're into Europa League. If you play beautiful, you tend to play well, and you tend to win more games. Rather than if you scrap, you play a good first half, and in the second half you have to throw in a bunch of players to try to prevent them from scoring a 1-0 win over a small team. Yeah. Whereas if you play well, you play the full 90 minutes playing good, beautiful soccer, chances are you're going to win your game. So I find now Rui Vitória leaving, I find that should be in the right direction. The message should have been sent to the president months back, and hopefully he opens his eyes that we need to have better attractive soccer. The players will like that. That's one thing. If you have your players play a beautiful soccer, they'll be happy. They're gonna score. They'll chances are they'll finish more of their chances, like we've seen this past weekend game. The change of formation, having João Felix play like that false 9 behind Seferovic, and you've seen what the progress or the changes that has done, that it makes the team play much better. If a team is happy, chances are they'll score, and I think they're on the up. I'm much for the title. I'm not sure now. I'll have to see how. We'll see after this weekend's game. There's a big game for all the teams right now. Benfica's going to go play against Santa Clara, while you have Porto and Sporting clashing against each other. So we'll find out exactly what happens after this weekend. We'll have a bigger picture of what's going to happen with us for the title. But at least we're in the we're still in the tossage. We're in Europa League. I find with Bruno Lage, he should stay for the rest of the season. I think he could implement the beautiful soccer that's going to be productive. I think chances are it's going to be a positive season in a way. Might not be for the title, but it'll be positive for other
next year.
For next year, guaranteed.
Yeah. Kind of speaking of the kind of the future of the club and kind of the modern club, one of the biggest projects has been the Shishal, with all the youth products and all the young guys that are right now developing, guys playing on the main team, and guys we've had in the past couple of years. Out of all the youth players we currently either have had or have in the works, is there one that like you go, man, I loved when this guy was on our team, or I love this guy that's coming up? Is there anyone particular out of the youth system that you've been the most excited for?
I was excited when Renato Sanches came up and seeing a young kid be like a bull on the field, that he would pick up the ball and run and like just dominate, and just seeing his effect when he came and he started playing in November, and the turnaround that he did for the team. That to me, I would say it's probably more Renato Sanches. Bernardo Silva, I don't remember. I haven't got to see too much of him when he played for Benfica. But I would say the players that have impacted me recently is Renato Sanches, a bit João Felix. Jetson for me is a bit of a newcomer. I don't get to watch too much of the B teams or the junior games, but I've heard a lot about João Felix last year, and I've started following a bit more. And this year, I'm really excited to see him playing a bit more. And it's pretty impressive to see a kid his age having such a quick impact in a short amount of time. At his first goal against Sporting, what a stage to score your first goal in a major game, in a big derby in Lisbon against your rival. That's a pretty cool thing to see, a kid coming from the Benfica system coming up to produce.
Agreed. Alex,
Great.
or Alex? Oh my God, I call you Alex.
Yeah, no kidding.
You guys all have beards. Alex has a beard too. So.
Yeah, no kidding, eh? Anything else I'd say? You know what? Leave it maybe on Nico. Any connection? Any connection with one Nico to another Nico?
Yeah, our son's name Nico is after Nico Gaitan. I had to choose a soccer player for my first, our first son. I wanted to choose a name that was somewhat easy to say in English, in French, and in Portuguese. So I went with Nico Gaitan.
That's fun. Is there anything else, like if any Benfica right now, because the whole goal of this project is I picture one day having like a huge deposit of various Benfiquistas from the entire planet. So some guy right now in South Africa or somewhere around the world is clicking on this one, about to wrap up. Anything else you'd want someone in the world to know about Kevin?
Just that I'm a big Benfica fan. I have a tattoo on my shoulder. I follow them when there are good times and bad times. I'm a big fan. I like to see them play. I look forward to when they play, and I look forward to them to being a bigger team in Europe and around the world to be noticeable.
Awesome. No, thanks so much for coming out, buddy. Another edition of Benfiquistas Worldwide, and look forward to bringing out the next one.
Thanks for having me on.
For sure. Peace.
Ciao.